Hello there, this is Dana of Dana's Spirit Butterfly back again for this month's energy forecast. Of course, we are talking about the month of October now, having left September, leaving that far behind and ready for the next phase of growth that is offered us on the planet. So why do we do an energy forecast? Well, for those of you who are new to this type of realm, we are influenced by the energies that surround us. And I'm not just talking about people, but there are astrological influences that influence us towards particular realities and particular phases of growth. We do this collectively. You are not and never have been alone. And so as you travel through your experience, you will find that some days people just seem to be experiencing similar types of growth patterns and similar types of experiences, and these are influenced by the energy that surrounds us. And so in this, you are being invited at the moment to tune in and to learn a little bit more about your energy and how it works and how this could serve you in the greater well-being that surrounds us both. The work that I do here is as a spirit channel, and so as I speak to you, the information that comes through is not solely coming from me, but it's coming through source energy and source frequency to assume certain premises that support your growth. And so what that means is that as you travel through your life, there are energetic experiences or situations that are in alignment with a greater picture, and that greater picture is influenced by you as you make your decisions and your choices, but it's also there to support you as you reveal more of who you are. We call this self-sovereignty. And self-sovereignty is a recognition of free will, that you do have the ability to choose the life that you want for yourself. And so many of us are misinformed as to what free will is. We tend to dwell a lot in the ego self, and the ego self will tell you about yourself for sure, but it usually is skewed or geared towards understanding that which has been directed at you rather than that which comes from the inside. The challenging thing for that is that so many of us on the planet here experience this feeling of disconnect. And this feeling of disconnect comes from beyond me. This feeling of disconnect is a planetary system event. It's not just you feeling disconnected. It is the product of the experience that we've been offered up until now from the programs that have served humanity from one perspective. And when I'm talking about one perspective, you may hear of the term patriarchy. It is not the same as men. We are not men haters here, but it's just a recognition that the structures of our society have been designed by men, quite often with absolute disregard for the fact that there are more on the planet than just a handful of men in power. And so these men in power have quite easily, because of circumstances of privilege and opportunity, taken advantage of many of us to create structures that were typically designed to provide for groups of people or the masses, otherwise known as the herd. So when we talk about herd mentality, this quite often refers to this idea that we all have a common understanding as to what things are real and what things aren't real. But it also drives our money and our finances. And so few people on the planet at the moment are in possession of wealth. And it's not actually true technically, but it is true from the perspective of money. Wealth, of course, goes beyond money. And as we progress into the field of life and experience, we are all experiencing this shift of the field where we are recognizing that we are all more similar than we think. And so this is what we call the sacred feminine rising. As women begin to step into an experience where they recognize that they have more power in their life than they previously thought, as they continue to step through that, they start to realize that they actually have more opportunities available to them to experience the life that they choose than they were previously told by their parents or by the society that surrounds us. And of course, the belief systems that are expressed on a collective event or a collective perspective are usually filtered through the eyes of this patriarchy that we talked about, and this perception that only a limited few hold and maintain the wealth of the world. When we have this idea or this belief system, we are prone to falling into competitive ideas, so jealousy, sabotaging others because we feel like we're going to miss out, fear of missing out, this fear of abandonment, fear of homelessness, fear of not having enough. All of these feelings and sensations and ideas come from the legacy that has been left us from the patriarchal past. And so as we continue to head forwards in the time-space continuum, which is basically into the future, we realize that there's a lot more on offer than just what we were told by our ancestors and by the services and products that are provided by the mainstream institutions. We often use this term awakening when we realize our power as the individual to choose a new reality. And this is, again, what we talk about when we talk about self-sovereignty. Self-sovereignty is absolutely within you, and the power is inside of you. And when you grow up believing that what you have inside is not valuable, you don't listen to it. And so I'm asking you to listen to that now. As you begin to listen to it, you're gonna see that the future is not fixed, that your options are not so limited, and that as things don't work out for you in real time, you realize that it's just the ego letting go of this program. We have had this year a really difficult time of things. There have been many people, and certainly many of my clients have been coming to me because they realize that the dream that they once held about what they wanted for themselves may not be realistic or may no longer serve them on a bigger scale. This is by divine design. This is a grand plan. This is here to help you move forwards in a world that recognizes your value inside. We need this shift. This shift is paramount to your future. It is paramount to a future where we are able to coexist in harmony with the earth. The recent climate change strikes, they are by divine design. They are a signifier of the youth of today standing forwards and being able to access that which is within them, inside them. Their voice comes from them, and their voice needs to be heard. It's not that they may get what it is that they're asking for so much as it is valuable that they express that which they need to say, because it comes from a deeper place inside. It comes from an aspect of self that is long forgotten on a community scale. In the herd mentality, we no longer have spaces to recognize the deep truths that lie in the deep ancestry that is in the pools and DNA of our cellular structure. We have them there. We've always had the wisdom to tune into them, but we have been trained to disbelieve this. And we have found that up until now this year, so many of you have been in the program of disarming this program. It is why there's so much devastation in the mind. It is why there is so much confusion on the mental level. Your mental state is often the story that you're telling yourself, which is these programs, the patriarchal programs. And as you awaken to the new light that is now on the planet, the new kindness that is being born on the planet, the new compassion and generosity that we see now inherent in our communities on a grassroots level, when you sit in reference to that, you start to expand, recognizing that that is the missing piece for you. This source code inside of you is a reflection of a deeper truth, and it is available in the code that surrounds you and your experience. But if you only value that which represents money, which represents your time being valuable because you're getting paid, you'll find that you will struggle in this matrix, because the matrix is no longer valuing that which we were taught is valuable. There is a lot more going on behind the scenes than you realize. And from that perspective, there have been a lot of people over the last 3 to 7 years who have suddenly been rendered homeless, who have suddenly found themselves having to scrimp and save in order to make their fundamental financial situation available to them. And this is by divine design. It's not because you don't deserve the money. It's not because you don't deserve the wealthy life that you want for yourself. It's that the wealthy life for yourself looks different to what it is that you've been telling yourself this whole time. The wealth that you have is inside of you and it's available to share with others. This is a very maternal program. This is the matriarchal echo that we all have on a cellular level. If you understood that you grew up as a young child having a severe disconnect with your mother because the current methodology that allows you birth and breath in life disconnects you from that quintessential fundamental human right that you have to feel connected to your mother once you have exited the womb, if you understood how devastating this is to your mental, emotional and physical state, then you would have greater respect for the fact that right now you feel like you're struggling and you feel like you're disconnected and you feel like you're alone. You are not alone, and if you have a stable spiritual practice to tune into the gift that is you inside, you will never feel alone. You will recognize the synchronicity that comes into your field and allows you to give breath to your life and to see this revel and unravel rather in your physical world. This is the gift that humanity has forgotten, and this is the gift that you house inside you. It is not about financial wealth or loss. It's not about homelessness or getting everything that I want. It's about recognizing your wealth inside that is accessible to you 24/7. And when you choose to acknowledge the gift of life that you have, your intrinsic connection to the Earth Mother, you will understand that the disconnect that you feel, or the disconnect that you feel may be the product of the parentage that you were gifted, or their failures to provide you with what you needed as a child. You will realize that it's because of the failures of their inability to parent you to the extent that you feel resonated with you, that allows you the sovereignty, the ability to stand forwards and to express yourself as an individual, an aspect of source and self that has the ability to voice who you truly are. And so we are stepping into a new earth. This whole program, the last 3 years, has been about introducing new light into your frequency, which basically means that you are in a process of unraveling the trauma, of revealing the self and the ability to choose your reality. We know as healers that the individual on some level chooses the trauma in their lives in order for them to reveal more of who they are. When you have a regular practice that serves and supports you and sees you as intrinsically valuable, you are able to hold and resonate with the frequency of love that's inside of you to respect your fundamental being. If, however, you feel like the outside world owes you and you feel like you are lacking, if you feel like you do not have the resources inside to get what it is you need for you to move forwards in a way that is love for you, then you will struggle through the new experience. But it is a great thing because this is your opportunity to recognize your sovereign self and your ability to choose your reality. There are a lot of light workers on the planet who are here to assist you. They are the healers, they are the meditators, they are the channels, they are the individuals that are there to hold your hand to understanding and to awaken your own spiritual gift so that you can hear your soul's messages. Channeling is something that needs to be mentioned, and channeling in itself is not necessarily helpful for you except where you understand how to come first from the self, the sovereign self, in the heart space. Because only there are you protected to receive information that serves a higher purpose and the greater good. This is the bridge between the physical individual self and the spiritual oneness that we're all intrinsically connected to. And yes, you too are connected to this. So please do not despair. You are intrinsically loved and you're intrinsically valued, and more of this beautiful experience of life, love and gifting is coming for you. But for you, it's about having the eyes to see. And with regards to the eyes, yes, this fundamental program that we are all existing in, that we are all around, is contributing to blockages in the illusion of the mind. So the Maya, the ability for you to understand that you, as you express yourself, as you move through your life, you are projecting images, and those images are colored or filtered through a lens, and that lens sometimes is blocked and sometimes is skewed towards a particular reality. And where that is true, you will find that what happens is, as you step forwards into the next experience, into the next decision, into the next event of your life, what will go according to the divine plan will probably not align with that which you see for yourself. And so, as a practice, we ask you, we urge you to please recognize you have a third eye that needs cleansing and clearing, and the illusion of the mind is multi-layered. Just when you think that you've cleared your third eye, you will realize that there's another layer in there that needs addressing. In a fashion, this is an invitation for you to have a new experience. This is an invitation for you to go deeper with the human condition, to understand and to respect yourself in this experience, maybe even more so than anybody else. You, of course, are the only person who is with you 24/7, notwithstanding the fact that you are connected to Source, and Source sees, hears and feels everything. Source, of course, we could use the term God, we can use the term the universe, we can use the term the planet, whatever sits in reference to you and makes meaningful dialogue with you is what matters. But it is here where we need to recognize that every single thing that I do, whether I perceive myself as disconnected or connected, is feeding back into a bigger grid. Every single thought that you have about yourself or other people is feeding back into a bigger grid. Every action that you do, every haircut that you have, all of this is recorded into a bigger oneness, into a bigger grid, and it matters. It is going somewhere. It is heard. But the universe doesn't speak in black and white. The universe doesn't speak in bad or good. So if you find the majority of your time you sit in judgment, criticism, or you feel yourself in competition with others, this is going to feed back into the grid as a lack mentality. This means that what you receive in the physical world will be less than what it is that you perceive yourself as deserving. And this is your invitation to join the new earth. This is your invitation to step forwards into the next reality. September has been a time period of rebalancing. There's been a lot of recall of old experiences back into your mindset and relationships that have appeared into the physical field that remind you of your past life. Of course, past life is any time from here on back as a soul, because as a soul, you've never ever ceased to exist. You've always been. As a human, however, of course, when we use the term past life, we may talk about from this moment back into this current physical time-space continuum moment, or we can also talk about beyond that. And if you're curious about that, of course, I'm able to help you because I offer past life regression. Of course, my preference is for all of you to learn how to tune into your Akashic field for yourself so that you can understand how to receive on cue information and messages that tell you about the circumstance that's presenting in your field, that allows you to understand why it might be there and what your options are moving forwards to be able to step into a new you and become a part of this beautiful, loving future that we are all a part of. Whether you step into it now or you step into it in 10 years' time, it is always available to you. Please do not feel like because you're not stepping up to the plate of the opportunity that's being offered you at this moment, in this time-space continuum moment now, that if you miss it now, it's not going to happen later. I assure you, every single person on the planet is on the pathway to the new earth. That said, however, there is a fractured experience at the moment where you will notice you will meet people who are less awake than others, and some people who are in absolute denial that there's anything beyond the physical. In that instance, in the new earth reality, we love them and we respect the fact that they are a human on a journey in their own experience, experiencing their own reality, which is important for them to disarm on their own. We cannot make it work for them. We can only support them as they work through it and allow ourselves to maintain our integrity 24/7. If I cannot show up for me, then I will find my boundaries are going to be infiltrated by others, and September offered us a lot of opportunity for people to push our buttons. Pushing buttons in itself is not a bad thing. All you need to do is maintain your personal integrity and remind yourself that we all have a projection of reality, that we exist. We press into the physical experience. We press this idea into the physical experience, and yes, sometimes it is dead wrong. Sometimes it is completely inaccurate, factually or otherwise, but it is there for a reason, and that is because it is there to show you about yourself, also so that you can experience when things aren't going to plan, so that you can let go of the human ego and the need to be right, and the need to be perfect, and the need to be other than you are, in order for you to see that you are perfectly fine as you are, and that the experience that you're having is valuable, specifically to you, if to nobody else, but Source sees everything. September in itself also offered us the equinox, and the equinox itself was about rebalancing. For some of us, the equinox this year was particularly profound. I didn't feel it so much for myself, but that's because we're all astrologically linked in slightly different ways, nuanced individually for ourselves. And that is the gift that we have as incarnated source codes, to be able to be ourselves and to have our own experience. Of course, we always have the question whether or not the astral fields, which is astrology, is going to influence me, or why it doesn't influence me, because I don't feel it influences me. It's really got to do with the layers to which you are connected to the planetary grid. And so we as earth workers and birth mothers, to give birth to the new earth, we insist that you spend some time sitting with the planet and attuning your frequency to that of the core, the true and authentic heart of the earth mother, so that the opportunities offered you as an individual source code frequency are in alignment with that which is available to you on the planet. This means that if I have a desire to start a business, and that is something that is heartfelt for me, the more I tune into the planet, the more likely it is that the planet will hear me when I ask, there be a particular opportunity coming forwards for me, so that I can express myself in that way. All of this stuff is heard. It's whether or not you believe it. And if you don't believe it to be true, honey, you need to get a really good self-love practice and acknowledge that you are valuable here. Your birth was needed to be here. The Earth Mother asked you to be here so that you could express yourself in your truth. And so a good self-love practice brings you back to you and reminds you that all is well with you, because you are free to be as you are, expressing yourself as you feel, because that's why you are here. A soul that does that tends to not feel overwhelmed by other people when they assert their authority, because nobody can steal your breath away when you own it 100%. Heading forwards, we are talking revolution. We are on a planetary system of healing. September was about letting go of old programs. There was a lot of endings. September and October were hand in hand, flip sides of the same coin, if you will. For those of you who struggled in September, there is new light for you in October that's allowing you to step forwards, planting new seeds for the next iteration. Between November and March, there is a portal opening that allows us to explore ourselves and expand in ways, as long as we stay true to ourselves. During that experience, you will find that which manifests will align with you and your individual frequency. However, if you still have programs that give away power to other people, you will find that in October, you will probably not make great headway with regards to the opportunities offered. And I'm being assured that that's okay. Don't give yourself a hard time. We still have 3 more months left of the year in order to get things in alignment, ready for 2020. October, also, I feel like if October is your birth month, there is drama in your field. It is every time we have a birth, there is a new turning over point of energy that offers us a next year of life. The anniversary of your birth is so quintessentially important to your experience. Please do celebrate it. And if you find that you have resolved trauma around you that represents your memory of having birthdays where nobody showed up or nobody gave you what it is that you need, please acknowledge your inner child, that part of you that feels like you missed out, and have a listen to what it is that he or she says. I'm a big fan of writing a letter to myself. I find that when I do that, I write a letter to the child that feels like she's suppressed and repressed and abandoned. And as I write it from her perspective. I also write it acknowledging her experiences being valuable, and then offering to be the adult in her life that listens to her, that supports her, nourishes her, and provides for her in ways that others, the adults in her life, possibly never did. Now, it doesn't matter if your parents did or not. What matters is that your individual integrity is sovereign. What you see for yourself and how you see your reality is actually that which influences you most. And so we work from that, whether it's true or not, because it's true for you, and this makes it valuable. Once we're able to let it go, you'll find new pathways open up, and you'll find that things will be easier. And this is the new earth. This is the healing of the earth mother, the wound of the maternal line that so many of us are being asked to do. So much work. I also have to provide a reassurance. So many people are scared at the moment about the planet, and I really need you to take personal sovereignty for the fact that the earth herself will always survive. The issue with climate change isn't really about the earth surviving or not surviving. It's about her being habitable for us to survive. And so I really just want you to understand that we are here standing up for our future generations to be able to have a life where they have fresh air to breathe, clean water. We do not survive without water. Our water sources are fundamental to our health. We need to be able to access fundamental clean drinking water that is not polluted by chemicals. Heading forwards, we want this reality to be available to our generations that go beyond us, because we choose to sit in tandem with the Earth Mother and her future. She wants us here, she wants to help us. She is helping us by clearing the field. A lot of the volcanic eruptions, for example, is her releasing some of the stress and tension that is built around the fear-based mentality that is currently on the planet. So please hold tight, honor you, understand what your body needs and how this is sourced from the planet. When you understand how to do that, there's a saying, we want to leave the earth better than we found it. And so wherever it is that you source things, please find ways to give back. If you are using wood in your experience, if you're going out buying a lot of furniture, find a way to plant a tree. Find a way. Choose healthy sources that are sustainable for the planet. These are helpful for you. This is what the new earth is about, and this is how we coexist in harmonious resonance with the planet and what she offers us. Because she doesn't need us, but we most certainly need her. Without her, we are not here available for our experience. So as we're wrapping up, new beginnings afoot. There's a lot going on. We've got a lot in the lead up to the 11/11 portal. So those of you who are uninitiated, every year on the 11th of the 11th, there's an alignment with a higher frequency that allows us access to new light that supports and serves us to manifest the realities that we want. We like to work together, and yes, again, this year I'll be offering some online activation, 2 of them, events. They will be short, but they will be sufficient to allow you to move forwards. And so do watch out for those. I will advertise them through my Facebook and social media. You'll also find it on my website, which I've recently updated, and it's all available. Please also subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can also join our mailing list. So please do jump on board. For the Sacred Sisters Soul Circle, we are still planning ways to be able to bed that down here in Melbourne. We're most looking for a venue. We are looking for a community venue. I possibly have found one, but please stay tuned because I'm hoping to offer one again in November. It is my fervent wish to be able to be a facilitator to awaken women to their natural selves so that they can step forwards in their relationships and serve themselves and thus the planet better. We are here to mother ourselves before we mother other people, not the other way around. And when we do that, we provide a resonant vibration that allows other people to understand how to take care of themselves, but also to be able to have the resources to support others when they are in need. Because there are a lot of people at the moment who are in profound situations of poverty and lack that is really not their fault. Circumstances have just offered them a gateway to an experience, and during that experience we want to be able to offer compassionate kindness and an awareness of self so that they may hold themselves in gentle ways moving forwards, rather than buying into the patriarchal idea of them being impoverished or them being a drain on society. This is no longer helpful for anybody. And so, as I wrap up, I invite you to please comment below if you have anything to share. You are always most welcome in all of my spaces to offer what it is you feel like you want to share, even if it's just a comment on anything that you've received through this video that supports you in your life. I really do wish that you feel supported in your life. And if you are feeling like you need a little bit of one-on-one tutoring, I of course offer online and in-person services in Melbourne and in Adelaide. And you are more than welcome to check out my website, www.danaspiritbutterfly, that's D-A-N-A spiritbutterfly.com. And there's a book now button, so you can have a look at my availability and the services that I offer. We find that people who do ask for help are the ones that receive it. And so booking a session is a way of asking for help. And don't be afraid, because we all need help. Even I have my own healers and my own readers that I reach out to, because sometimes we can't do everything on our own. It is a strong soul who acknowledges that they are a small pin in a really big pinboard of people on the planet that are currently not able to see clearly that which they feel makes everything worthwhile. And so please do reach out, even if it's just to understand a little bit about how to tune into your spidey senses, your feminine intuition, and to work there. I work with both men and women to be able to do that. And I do hope that you're able to join us for that, or even just the meditation circles that I'm offering at the moment, which are also online and in person. And so, with blessings and love, come and see me at 5 Elements in Fitzroy North if that's where you're close to. Otherwise, I sign off and I wish you a really beautiful month of October. Please be well and take care. I'm going to just sing you out with one of my singing bowls. As I thank you and send you blessings and light from the lands of the Wurundjeri people, whose elders past, present and emerging I recognise, I respect, I value and I love, with appreciation for our first Australians. Alright, my love to you. Please take care. Remember, Spirit loves you. I love you. Please love you.